My name's Lucy Poole. I'm one of the master gardeners, and I got the task of talking about okra. Probably because nobody else wanted to talk about okra, because most people don't like okra. But we were tasked with growing okra. It was one of the vegetables the University of Minnesota gave us this year to grow. It wasn't one we picked, we just were given it. So we grew it, and this is our garden, and this is our okra, and you can see some got over 7 feet tall, some are little. We have 6 different varieties here. Okra is also known as gumbo or ladyfingers because the pods that are on them, here's some tiny ones, and then there's some bigger ones down there you can see, are in the mallow family. They have edible pods on them. So what you eat is this pod part of the plant. The flowers are beautiful. They're yellow and white in color with kind of that deep purple in the middle. They're great for pollinators, and you can see the bumblebees flying around them. We have lots of pollinators out here. The geographical origin of okra is still kind of disputed, but there's documentation that it was in West Africa, Ethiopia, Southeast Asia. The species is a perennial, but it's grown in temperate climates as annual. So here in Minnesota, of course, it's grown as an annual. The fruit or the pods can grow up to 7 inches in length, and they contain many white seeds in the middle of them. Okra is one of the most heat and drought tolerant vegetable species in the world, and it tolerates very heavy clay soils and intermittent moisture. And for that reason, that's how many countries are growing it. It is a vegetable that can be used in many different things, and it provides great nutrition. So it is often introduced in climates that has poor soil, intermittent water, and it will grow and it'll provide the fruit and can provide good nutrition for a lot of people, and it's successful. The problem is nobody likes it. Doesn't taste good. So you got to figure out a way to make it palatable for people to eat. In Minnesota, frost will damage these pods right away. This minute it gets frosty in Minnesota, these pods get damaged and you can no longer eat them. The southern United States, they grow lots and lots of okra. And if you go down there, they have stews that have okra and soups that have okra. They use it all the time down there. And because it's not the primary thing in what they're serving, it is a very popular vegetable, and people eat it all the time. Here, we took our seeds and soaked them overnight, and then we started our seeds indoors just because it takes a while for the soil in Minnesota to get up to 70 degrees. So our seeds, we planted them in dirt about 3/8 to a half an inch deep. But then we started them indoors and then transplanted them outside. In the ground, we put them about 18 inches apart, and we waited till the soil again got to about 70 degrees. Different variety again grow up to 7 feet tall, but you can see they're all different heights here. So it kind of depended which variety got tall. The seed pods get really fibrous and woody the longer you let them go. So letting them get really long and grow for a long time isn't the answer. You really got to harvest them, and they suggest harvesting them when they're between 3 and 5 inches in length, and that's when they're the best tasting. So we were out here measuring them all the time and trying to get them when they're the right length and not letting them overgrow. It's best to harvest them when they're immature and not really mature. Different variety pods vary in length, but again, they say to harvest them all between 3 and 5 inches. The okra plants themselves have an irritating like hair on them, and it makes you itch. There were several of the master gardeners who would go through here and then come out itching, and they just hated it. So they really suggest wearing long sleeves when you're walking through this patch, and gloves when you're dealing with this. About okra. The pods of the okra plant are mucigenous. And I always say the word wrong, so we're going to put this on the screen for you later. Mucigenous. I think that's how you say it. That word means it results in the characteristic of goo or slime. So just saying that makes you realize why some people don't like okra. When the seed pods are cooked, the mucilage, and that's the short version of that word, contains a lot of soluble fiber, which is so good for your diet. But that soluble fiber kind of gets gooey and slimy. It's like adhesive, and it just tastes weird. You don't like it. So it makes the plant goo together, but it makes your mouth goo together too. So you don't like it. One way to handle that is to cook it with something acidic. So tomatoes really break that down, and that's why you see lots of gumbos and soups. And there's like lots of times you see okra with tomatoes. And that kind of breaks that mucilage down, and it's a lot easier to tolerate. But if you're just eating it plain, it's tough. It has the consistency kind of a pepper, but because it does that gooey thing, you just got to try it so you know what I mean. The pods themselves, you can slice and dice them. They're cooked, they're fried, they're pickled, they're stewed, they're roasted. People from all over the world do a million different things with them. In Asia, they do something different than Ethiopia. There's a million recipes. Other parts of the country love them. They are pretty new to Minnesota, and Minnesota is not fallen in love with them yet. But there's time. They use them in salads, soups, stews, main course meals, everything. It's a very rich source of vitamin C, vitamin K, and mostly fiber. It has lots of antioxidants in it, which we know helps prevent cancer, diabetes, strokes, and heart disease. For everybody, it's a great thing to put in your diet. So here in Minnesota, we have to figure out how to eat them, and we're going to try. So if you have any questions, send them to us. Thanks.